You know, it's funny how weather used to be, well, just small talk, right?
Mm,
But now, I mean, think about it. Farmers making huge decisions, millions riding on rain forecasts.
exactly. And airlines navigating these increasingly wild skies.
Yeah, and even just planning a picnic feels like you need, I don't know, a PhD in meteorology
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah, it does feel that way.
Accurate weather info, it's become this like critical backbone for so much of modern life. It's kind of surprising.
It really has.
And that's precisely why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking into the global market for the actual gear, the equipment that makes those forecasts happen, meteorological equipment.
Exactly. We've been digging into a recent analysis, and our mission here is really to pull out the most interesting bits for you, the key insights.
Right.
And forget just, basic backyard thermometers. We're talking a really complex industry, super sophisticated tools used in ways you might not even think about.
Okay, so sophisticated tools, global market. What kind of scale are we actually talking about here? Give us the big picture numbers.
Okay, so the analysis projects the global market for this equipment hitting about 1751.8 million US dollars in 2025.
Okay, 1.75 billion. That's substantial.
It is. But here's where it gets really interesting. By 2033, that number, it's expected to jump to almost $2,709 million.
Wow. Okay, nearly 2.7 billion. That's a pretty big leap in what, 8 years?
It is. That works out to a compound annual growth rate, a CEGR, of 5.60% between 2025 and 2033.
And what's pushing that? What's the main engine?
Well, like you hinted at earlier, it's this constantly growing demand, this need for really precise weather forecasts. And that's across pretty much every sector you can imagine.
Right, so it's not just one place driving this demand, I assume. How does it break down geographically?
Not at all. It's global.
Yeah.
But right now, North America definitely holds the biggest piece of the pie, over 40% of the global revenue.
40%. Oh.
Yeah, their market size is projected at around $648 million in 2025.
And within North America, US versus Canada, Mexico.
The U.S. is the giant, no surprise. About $511 million in 2025, growing at 3.2% CGR.
Okay.
Canada's next, around $78 million, but actually growing a bit faster at 4.2%. So maybe closing that gap slightly over time.
Interesting.
And even Mexico's got a decent slice, nearly $59 million, growing at 3.9%.
So what makes North America so dominant? Just more weather stations?
It's partly infrastructure, but also a lot of advanced tech investment,
Yeah.
especially in sophisticated radar systems, things like dual polarization tech.
Yeah.
That gives them a real advantage tracking severe weather.
Gotcha. That advanced tech edge. What about across the pond in Europe?
Europe's significant too, over 30% of the market. We're talking about $508 million in 2025.
And their growth.
Projected CAGR is 3.9%. Yeah, so steady growth.
Any key countries leading the charge there?
Yeah, the UK is strong, around 85 million, growing pretty fast at 4.7%, probably linked to infrastructure upgrades. Germany is actually a bit bigger in market size, just over 100 million, growing at 4.1%. There you see a lot of focus on using weather data for agriculture and climate change adaptation.
Makes sense.
And Russia is also notable, around 79 million, though their growth is a bit slower, about 2.9% CAGR.
Okay, now Asia. You always hear about explosive growth there. What's the story in this market?
Yep. Asia Pacific, or APAC, it holds about 23% of the market right now, so roughly $420 million in 2025.
But growth-wise?
That's where it really stands out, the fastest growth globally. Projected CAGR of 7.6% through 2033.
Wow, 7.6. Who's driving that?
China. China's a huge part of it,
Yeah.
definitely. Market size around 177 million, growing at 7.1%. It's not just their aerospace stuff, but also just wider adoption of weather tech.
Okay.
But here's the real eye-opener.
Yeah.
India.
Yeah.
Their market's smaller, about 42 million in 2025, but the projected growth, a massive 9.5% CAGR.
9.5%. That's huge. What's behind that?
It really seems to reflect major government pushes to modernize their whole weather infrastructure, expanding monitoring, especially in areas that didn't have much before.
Okay, so APAC is definitely the region to watch for future growth, especially India. What about the rest of the world? South America, Middle East, Africa?
They have smaller shares currently.
Yeah.
South America is just over 5%, about 67 million in 2025, growing at 4.6%. Brazil's the key player there.
Right.
About 28 million, growing at 5.2%, probably linked to government spending, maybe agriculture forecasting.
Okay.
The Middle East is smaller still, around 2% share, $70 million, growing at 4.9%.
And Africa?
Africa's about 1% share right now, roughly 39 million in 2025. but decent growth potential, 5.3% CAGR.
Any standouts there?
South Africa shows stronger growth, actually, about 14 million market size, but growing at 6.2%. So, potential for faster expansion there, too.
Okay, fascinating breakdown. North America leads now, but APAC's growth trajectory, especially India, is really something. Let's shift gears now to the actual tools. What specific equipment is really driving this market?
Well, the analysis suggests that hygrometers are likely to be the dominant category.
Hygrometers. So humidity measurement, why is that so big?
It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. You need precise humidity readings everywhere, not just like for comfy office
For
building.
AC systems and stuff.
Exactly. But critically for environmental monitoring, and agriculture is a huge one, precision farming is taking off.
Using data to manage crops really efficiently.
Precisely. That, plus all the climate change research, huge drivers. And these sensors are getting built into everything: smart weather stations, IoT devices.
The unsung hero, the hygrometer. Okay, so that's dominating. What about the fastest growing segment?
That title goes to seismometers.
Seismometers, interesting. Not the first thing I think of with weather.
Yeah, it might seem a bit separate, but think about early warning systems, earthquake monitoring. The demand there is surging.
Disaster preparedness.
Exactly. Governments everywhere are investing more in that, especially in shaky zones. Plus, the tech itself is getting better sensitivity, how we transmit the data. It's all boosting that market.
Good reminder that it's all connected: atmosphere, ground, everything. What other key tools are in the mix?
Oh, lots of foundational stuff still has steady demand. Anemometers for wind speed, thermometers, barometers for pressure.
We're still classics.
Right. Plus pyranometers for solar radiation, ceilometers for cloud height, rain gauges, snow gauges.
Got it.
And then more specialized things, too, like transmissometers. They measure visibility, lightning detectors, and radiosondes.
Radiosondes, those are the balloons, right?
Yeah.
With the sensor packages.
Exactly. They send back crucial data from up in the atmosphere. So, yeah, it's a really comprehensive toolkit.
A whole arsenal for understanding the weather and apparently earthquakes, too. So where is all this gear actually being used? What are the big application areas?
Right now, aviation takes the largest share.
Makes sense. Safety, efficiency.
Absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
Airports globally are pouring money into advanced systems. Things like Doppler radar that gives detailed wind and rain info.
Right.
And AWOS automated weather observation systems. Those are sensor suites feeding data straight to pilots and controllers, plus wind profilers measuring wind at different altitudes. Really vital stuff.
Yeah, you can see why they'd invest heavily there. What sector is coming up strong behind aviation?
Agriculture. It's expanding really rapidly as an application area.
We touched on that with precision farming.
Exactly. Mitigating climate change risks, optimizing resources. Farmers and agribusinesses are relying more and more on this tech. On-site weather stations, soil moisture monitors, even remote sensing.
Using data to decide when to plant, irrigate, harvest.
All of it. It boosts yields, makes resource use way more efficient. It's transforming the industry.
Amazing. What other key sectors rely on this equipment?
Well, research is always critical, right? Driving innovation. The power sector is huge, too, especially with renewables like wind and solar being so weather dependent.
Good point.
Then you've got marine, military, both have big needs. And, of course, just general weather forecasting itself.
Naturally.
Beyond those, you see applications in chemical industries, biotech, pharma, environmental monitoring.
Yes.
Pretty widespread.
Okay, so it's not just who makes it, but who uses it. How does that break down? Commercial versus, say, government.
Looking at the end users, yeah, the commercial sector currently holds the biggest share.
So businesses using the data.
Right. Think media outlets, transportation companies, energy firms, agriculture businesses.
Yeah.
They all need precise forecasts to run smoothly, optimize things, and avoid weather-related losses.
Makes sense. And who else is a major end user?
The government and defense sector is growing really fast here.
Okay. National Weather Services, military.
Exactly. Plus, disaster management agencies. They're investing heavily in advanced monitoring tech, driven by, more extreme weather, plus needs for public safety, national security, and basic climate research.
Lots of government investment then. Now, how does this tech actually get to these users? Distribution channels.
Currently, direct sales is the biggest channel.
Manufacturers straight to the user.
Because a lot of the big buyers, governments, universities, military, they often need really specialized high-end gear. They want to work directly with the maker for customization, support, long-term service deals.
Right, a tailored approach for the big players.
Yeah.
What about smaller customers? Private forecasters, schools, farms?
For them, indirect sales channels are getting more important. They often want stuff that's more readily available, maybe more affordable. Standard sensors, portable stations.
So through distributors or resellers?
Exactly. It offers convenience, wider reach, competitive pricing. That's especially true in developing economies.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground market size, regions, gear, uses, distribution. Let's synthesize a bit. What are the absolute core factors pushing this market forward?
The analysis really boils it down to a few key drivers. Number one, growing concern about climate change.
That seems to underpin everything.
It does. Linked to that is the expansion of industries that are super weather sensitive: aviation, agriculture, fishing, energy.
Right.
Second, just the rapid pace of technological development and weather prediction itself. Better tech creates demand for better equipment to feed it data.
Makes sense. Moore's law for meteorology.
Huh, maybe something like that. And third, just growing awareness globally about climate impacts. That pushes the need for better monitoring and forecasting all around.
Okay, so climate change, sensitive industries, tech advancements, and awareness. What about the flip side? Any major roadblocks or restraints?
Yeah, a couple are mentioned. One is actually the complexity of interpreting all the data.
Ah, getting swamped by information, sort of. As the systems get more advanced, you need more expertise to really analyze and use the data effectively. That can be a bottleneck.
Okay.
The other big one is just the cost. The significant upfront investment needed for modern, high-end meteorological equipment. That can definitely be a barrier, especially for smaller outfits or in developing countries.
Complexity and cost.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Looking ahead then, what major trends are shaping where this market is going?
Two big ones stand out. First, significant and increasing investment in meteorological infrastructure. That's coming from governments and NGOs worldwide.
Building out the networks.
Right. And second, a really clear rise in IoT-based weather monitoring. Internet of Things devices are changing how we collect and access weather data, making it more real-time, more widespread than ever.
Everything connected. So,
Yeah.
sounds like a dynamic field.
Yeah.
Who are the main companies playing in this space? Is it dominated by a few giants?
It's actually described as quite fragmented. The growing uses are fueling more competition.
You have major global firms, and they're really focusing on integrating the latest tech, IoT, satellite systems, AI for analytics.
Pushing the envelope.
Definitely. But you also have important regional players offering more localized solutions, sometimes more affordable ones, tailored to specific conditions.
Makes sense.
And we're seeing a lot of collaborations, companies partnering up, working with governments, with universities. It's a very active landscape.
The report even mentions some specific recent examples of that activity, right?
Yeah, it did. For instance, just recently, June 2024, Vaisala launched a new portable CO2 probe for specific uses, like life science incubators.
Okay.
Back in August 2023, China launched an advanced weather satellite, Fengyan 306, that's meant to boost severe weather forecasting and track things like ozone.
Right.
July 2023, the India Meteorological Department partnered with a local startup. They're working together on developing Indian-made sensors and AI modeling software.
Interesting. Building domestic capacity.
Exactly. And even going back to April 2022, AccuWeather teamed up with Digital Turbine for app distribution.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of different kinds of activity showing innovation and partnerships.
This has been incredibly insightful, a real deep dive into this surprisingly complex world of weather gear. To wrap it up, what are the absolute key takeaways we should leave with?
Okay, I'd say, 1, this market is seeing significant growth, and that's expected to continue. 2, it's fueled mainly by climate change concerns and big technological leaps.
Right.
3, region-wise, keep a close eye on Asia-Pacific, especially India, for the fastest expansion. 4, equipment-wise, hygrometers dominate, but seismometers are the fastest-growing segment. 5, applications aviation leads now, but agriculture is catching up fast. And finally, the big trend is towards more sophisticated, integrated, and connected technology everywhere in weather monitoring and forecasting.
So looking forward, it's clear this tech isn't just getting fancier, it's becoming more and more crucial. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, how will these trends impact not just our daily forecast, but maybe whole industries, our daily lives, especially with climate change as the backdrop? What new possibilities open up when we get even better, faster weather data?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question.
Definitely something to keep watching, a really vital field.